Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our incredible global audience joining us today. I am Veena Hadagali, the Woman in Big Data US Regional Chair and a Security Advisor at Cognizant AI startup company. It's my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the global launch of pivotal new initiative, the Woman in Big Data Global Security Channel. This marks a significant milestone for women in big data as we expand our focus to empower professionals in cybersecurity, AI, and data with the dedicated training, mentorship, networking in and invaluable resources. Today, we delve into a topic that is not just relevant but absolutely critical in our digital age, the intersection of cybersecurity, AI, and data. We are honored to have an exceptional panel of leaders joining us to share their thoughts. First, a very special welcome to Surekha Reddy, our Global Executive Chair for the WiBD Cybersecurity Initiative, and I'm proud to say she is the visionary CTO of our company, Cognizant, and an AI startup focused on agentic applications. Surekha, thank you for leading this crucial initiative. Joining us are here Michelle, the Chief Operating Officer of a startup, embed security company, bringing her deep expertise as a security industry expert. Isabelle is our WiBD Cybersecurity Marketing Director and also freelance marketing and a project consultant who is instrumental in bringing this initiative to our global community. Welcome, panelists. We are truly excited to learn from your collaborative wisdom. Okay, let's kick things off. Surekha, you have a unique vantage point as a global executive chair for this initiative and a CTO for an AI startup. I have two parts questions for you. Why is this initiative so critical for WIPD, and what do you see as the single most critical challenges that WIPD Global Security Initiative can address a diverse professionals navigating this complex landscape?
Thank you for the panel introductions, Veena. It is my huge privilege to be here for this global launch of WebD Cybersecurity Initiative. The need for this initiative is both urgent and also profound. As an executive AI startup, in an AI startup, I see every day the cybersecurity is not just a feature, it is the very foundation of trust and integrity for this next generation AI and data platforms. The work we are doing here in Women in Big Data is crucial to ensure that as the technology evolves, we have the diverse talent and expertise to secure it. This initiative is a very strategic move for the Women in Big Data community. We are building this from the Women in Big Data's foundational offerings like mentoring, networking, as you mentioned, but with a laser focus on cybersecurity. AI systems are becoming the cornerstone of innovation as we see the technology evolving. As it is kind of becoming the cornerstone of the innovation, the increase in the cybersecurity risks is also very significant in this area. This initiative positions the women in big data at the forefront, ensuring our community is not only prepared for the future of AI and data, but actively shaping it in the areas of securing it. And what this initiative sets apart is we are trying to visualize this as being a holistic ecosystem of support. We're just not offering the training only. We are building a community where professionals can gain the foundation knowledge and skills necessary through dedicated training, mentoring, and networking opportunities, but also trying to be able to share their knowledge with others and then create that ecosystems of support to lean on each other. And then what is that we're trying to really address as a challenge, the critical challenge through that initiative is, as you are seeing, the cybersecurity landscape is evolving significantly and quickly. And for the professionals, for especially from the underrepresented groups, it is becoming a huge barrier to entry because of the evolution of this technology being so rapid. And the challenge is to really enable these certain groups with the knowledge and the skills that they need is one of the critical most challenge we would like to address through this initiative. And then we, as part of this initiative, we really want to create a trusted, accessible, and inclusive space for diverse professionals where they can come and then gain the cutting edge knowledge. And this is so important for this women in big data community to empower the professionals with the security first mindset where they can really thrive in their professional journey, not only being able to secure greater jobs, but also leading and innovating this technology along the way. And thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Surekha, for that powerful perspective. You have really highlighted why this initiative is so crucial, and not only because of cybersecurity is the foundation of trust in AI and data platforms, but also because of the urgent need to close the knowledge and the skills gap. And I love you framed this initiative as more than just a training; it's a holistic community of a mentorship, networking, and the opportunity. So, building on that, let's turn to Michelle as the CEO of a security company and a deep industry expert. What are some of the most pressing cybersecurity challenges you are observing specifically within AI and data ecosystem today? And importantly, from a practical standpoint, what solutions or best practices are emerging to address them?
Thank you, Veena, and thank you, Surekha, for that opening. I just love that this initiative was created. I think it's critical for women in technology to have access to supportive communities such as this one. Specifically for women in big data and cybersecurity, with the explosion of use in AI across all aspects of businesses and our personal lives, talking about how we secure AI, starting from the first moment we begin building or leveraging AI solutions, is so critical. So this is perfect timing. So thank you for hosting this. As someone who spent a lot of time on both sides, both building protection-based security products and now helping lead a security-focused startup that leverages AI to solve challenges in the security operations space, it's clear that the attack surface is shifting. And for those working in data, that has real consequences. I'll quickly try to touch on 3 areas that are challenging for our industry right now. First, I'd probably start with the fragility of our AI supply chain. Organizations are building models using open source code, external data sets, and pre-trained foundation models, often without much visibility into the integrity of those components. This opens the door to threats like data poisoning, where malicious actors can inject corrupted data into public data sets, and even model tampering, where compromised models can produce misleading or harmful outcomes. These risks are subtle but serious, and we need to treat them like we would any other software supply chain risk. Does anybody remember SolarWinds? So let's not go there again. That means applying principles like model provenance tracking, version control, signed artifacts, and continuous validation throughout the ML ops lifecycle is important. We need to know where every component of the model came from, who touched it, and whether it's still behaving as it's expected. Second, I'd probably turn my attention to adversarial attacks on models. These are inputs that are deliberately crafted to manipulate how an AI system responds, causing it to miss detections or misclassify data, particularly dangerous in cybersecurity applications where they're using AI to detect fraud, phishing, or insider threats. Attackers are actively learning how to exploit model blind spots. That's why explainability is so important, not just for transparency or compliance, but as a real security control. If we can't explain why a model made a certain decision, we can't trust it to make critical ones. At Embed, where I work, a core tenet for our product is providing transparency into how we leverage AI, showing our work and the data, so there is a clear way to audit and validate how we came to a conclusion. And finally, I think I would say the third concern that comes to mind, and this is probably more systematic than any of the others, is that many ML workflows simply lack the basic security discipline we've built up over so many years in the software industry, engineering space. Things like access control, audit logging, and change management are still missing from a lot of AI pipelines. And because ML infrastructure is often separate from core IT, security teams don't always have visibility into what's running or who has access. This is where I start to think that zero trust principles come into play, such as least privilege, verification, and segmentation. And not just for users and devices, but think about it for data pipelines and model endpoints. We need to ensure that sensitive data used in training and inference is handled with the same rigor we apply elsewhere, and that models themselves are protected like the critical assets they are. We need to start thinking of them as our crown jewels. At the end of the day, securing AI isn't just about addressing new types of attacks. It's about rethinking how we build and operate these systems from the ground up. That means embedding security into every phase of the AI lifecycle, fostering tighter collaboration between security and data teams, and building for resilience and not just for defense after the fact. It's not enough to bolt on controls at the end. We've seen this before. It doesn't work. We need to build with security in mind from the start if we want AI to be safe, trusted, and effective.
Thank you, Michelle, for that deep dive into the realities of securing AI. You have really understood how the attack surface is shifting from supply chain risk, adversarial effects to the gap in basic security discipline across machine learning workflows. I especially appreciate your point that security can't be bolted on at the end. It has to be embedded from the beginning of the AI lifecycle. That perspective highlighted exactly why this initiative matters, bringing security and data professionals together to close those gaps and ensuring AI systems are not only the innovation but trusted and resilient. So now over to Isabel. As our cybersecurity marketing director, you are at the front fork of communicating the importance of these issues and engaging our community. Looking ahead, what emerging trends or areas of focus do you believe will significantly impact the cybersecurity landscape for AI and data in the next 3 to 5 years, particularly from a community engagement and awareness perspective? And how can organization and individual prepare for these shifts?
Thank you, Veena. I've been really glad to be part of this launch, and thank you, Michelle and Surekha, as well for being part of this panel. Looking ahead at the next 3 to 5 years, I see three big priorities when it comes to cybersecurity in AI and data from a community perspective. First, the need for widespread awareness and education. Cybersecurity is no longer just the responsibility of technical teams. So every role in an organization has some connection to data and technology, which means everyone has a role in protecting it. So building cyber awareness and literacy across all levels, from executives to interns, is absolutely critical. Second, collaboration and knowledge sharing. Threats are changing so quickly that no single individual or company can solve them alone. So the real strength comes from communities where people can share lessons learned, best practices, and even warnings. And when we come together across industries and geographies, we move faster than the threats themselves. And third, preparedness through resources and networking. That's exactly why WiBD launched this initiative. It's designed to give our community access to mentorship, training, workshops, and a network of people who are dealing with these same challenges. It's about making sure that no one feels that they're trying to figure this out on their own, because they shouldn't have to, and they won't. So for me, the future of cybersecurity isn't just about technology, it's about people. and awareness, collaboration, and community preparedness will be the strongest defenses that we have.
Yeah. Thank you, Isabel, for framing the future of cybersecurity around people and a community. I think your points are really resonate. Awareness, collaboration, and preparedness are just as important as the technology itself. Okay, so now we have covered a lot of ground, and now it's time for some questions from our global audience perspective. So, Michelle, a question for you. How do you see the role of CISO evolving with the increasing reliance on AI and big data, especially with agentic applications?
Thank you, Veena. That's an interesting one because I think the job of the CISO is already difficult, and I think AI is going to make it even more challenging. So I see the role evolving from being a gatekeeper to being much more of a strategic partner in how organizations adopt AI and big data. In the past, the CISO was often brought in at the end of the project to sign off on policies or controls that were put in place in time for the launch. But with AI, and especially with agentic applications that can make decisions and take action on their own, that approach doesn't really work anymore. Security has to be a part of the design conversation from day one. Agentic systems in particular raise new questions. It's not just, is the data protected or is the model robust? It's also about what guardrails are in place around the decisions these systems are allowed to make. A CISO's job now includes setting those boundaries, which actions can be automated safely and which require human oversight. I think the other big shift is around data governance. CISOs used to focus on access to structured enterprise data. Now they're responsible for securing not only just that raw data, but also training data, model outputs, and the pipelines connecting everything. This feels like a really huge expansion of scope for them. And then finally, CISOs are becoming connectors. They have the opportunity to work side by side with data teams, AI engineers, and product leads to align security with business goals. They're at the center of all of that. It's less about saying no and more about helping the organization move fast, but safely. So if I had to put it simply, the role of the CISO is evolving from protecting systems to protecting autonomous decision-making itself. And that's a pretty profound shift as we move forward.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle, that you captured so clearly how AI is reshaping both CISO's role and the day to day work of security teams. I think your point that CISOs are moving from being a gatekeepers to strategic partners and even guardians of autonomous decision making is such an important insight for our audience. And following upon that, here is another question for you, Michelle. Given your background in leading security product teams, what is the most significant practical change AI is uh, bringing to security operation teams, and how can they best leverage it?
Yeah. So what I'm seeing and what we're seeing at Embed is that AI is fundamentally changing how security operation teams work. If you think about it, for years, analysts they were always buried in alert fatigue, sifting through lots of noisy data, pulling logs, stitching together timelines, all of that just to get to the point where they could start asking the right questions. They could start really using their critical thinking skills. That manual investigation work has always been the bottleneck. So at Abed, what we're focused on is how agentic AI can take on that heavy lifting. Instead of analysts spending hours chasing down data across email, endpoint, cloud, and other systems, the AI can autonomously gather context. It can correlate those signals, and it can even draft the initial incident timeline. It's like giving every analyst their own junior investigator who works at machine speed 24/7. So the real value isn't just faster triage. It's really freeing our analysts to do the work only humans can do. That's that critical thinking, that judgment, that creative solving problem, freeing them up for time to do that. In other words, we're shifting security operations from that alert-driven manual work to truly investigation-driven. And And for orgs to adopt this, I would say practically the best way to start is small. Let AI handle the repetitive, low-risk tasks that like alert deduplication and enrichment. Start to build up trust, start to understand how the system works, and then scale up to more complex autonomous investigations. When done right, AI doesn't replace the analysts that we have today, it amplifies them.
That's a great point, Michelle. I like the way how you tied that to security operations, showing that AI isn't about replacing analysis, but about amplifying their capabilities, removing the noise, and freeing them for a higher value work. That shift from being an alert driven to truly investigation driven is exactly the kind of transformation this initiative is here to highlight. And the next question is for Surekha. In your experience leading AI transformation and building a startup, what is the biggest leadership or business challenge in integrating a security first mindset into product development, and how have you overcome it?
Yeah. That's actually a very good question. I think, Michelle kind of mentioned several things here, as we heard from her. Like, I made some notes here: model tampering, data protection, data poisoning, supply chain of innovation, explainability. There are a lot of points. You see the complexity, how it is evolving with the new landscape where we're entering in AI and data, right? And then I personally have seen this business challenge question coming, throughout my career, from large enterprises where I worked at Intel Corporation to my own startup, Cognigen, right? The biggest business challenge is often uh, everybody is it is a perception. Actually, it is a perception that security is a roadblock for innovation and the speed. It's seen as the extra cost or a process that shows, for example, slows down the time to market. And that is in fact somewhat true, but actually, if we kind of take a shortcuts of not investing in security mindset from the beginning, and you would be paying the price later, right? I have found that in many cases that best way to overcome this is to demonstrating the direct business value of the security to the stakeholders, right? Like with executives or peers, it is important to really articulate the business value of the security. It's about showing the robust and secure solutions, how it can reduce the long-term risks, like building the customer trust and ultimately generating the more revenue. If you can position that as a business challenge, as an answer to a business challenge of, why to invest in security is important, right? And recently at Cognizant, where I think, Veena, thank you for you to joining us as a security advisor there. And as you saw the technology being, evolved, one of the advantages we were able to take, 2 years, like even using the agentic flows, not only for agentic applications that we're building, but also to build applications. We were using the prompt-driven development agentic flows to even build the applications. As part of that, one of the things that you helped us, actually very, very thankful to you, was how do we really embed a secure, what should I say, SDLC, like the software development lifecycle principles or the practices that can get injected as part of the prompt-driven development flows that we developed. And that really taught me a lot, that integrating security from the start actually accelerates time to market by preventing the costly rework later, and avoiding the vulnerabilities. And actually, for the global audience benefit, maybe you can expand a little bit on what and how you helped us with the security gap analysis that we have done with you, and also your suggestions on security controls, that what we can really implement in our application development. That will be really, I think, a great point to touch on. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, that's a great point, Surekha. And I must say, Cognizant technology is amazing to work with. And the agents and the entire technology stack is really amazing. And it's been a pleasure working with you and the development team to identify and integrate security control points within the prompt driven development agentic workflows. As a cybersecurity professional, I always believed in keeping security simple, and security truly begins with the people, process, and technology. I started by incorporating security by design practices into product development, conducting risk assessment, vulnerability analysis using the tool Sneak, and implementing robust data governance and privacy measures to align with compliance goals. From there, we defined a set of targeted security controls and integrated them seamlessly into the SDLC lifecycle or the prompts. The goal was very clear to make security a natural process and also an automated part of the development process, not a barrier, but an enabler of an innovation, trust, and resilience. So now, and to tie it all together, and a final question for you, Surekha. What is the one practical step an individual data scientist or AI engineer can take today to improve the security posture for their projects?
Yeah, I think this is a very important question. Actually, I think to kind of address, and you summarized it quite well, right? As part of what we work together, I think the most practical step I would kind of incorporate as a data scientist, as any matter of any software development, professional, is to adopt the DevSecOps mindset. This is one of the posture that they can really develop that mindset aspect, like from the day one. This means not waiting until the end to think about security, right? I think Michelle addressed quite a few areas where it is so important to have that mindset from the beginning, because the area where we're going is there are a lot of touch points that the security vulnerabilities can get injected. Then engineers should incorporate these security checks in their CI/CD pipelines. We all know that, as a software development, we have to have CI/CD pipelines. And then as part of that pipelines, we can just incorporate these security checks. And then, like, for example, using the right tools to scan for vulnerabilities in the code, and also and then doing the dependency check. And there are a lot of libraries these days we use, open source libraries. They constantly change and get outdated. So it's important for as part of the CI/CD pipelines to understand the dependency checks and then the outdated nature of the APIs and the libraries. It is important, very important. And then also understanding the potential of attack space, right, and the surface, and then their particular, where they can come and how do we really protect, and especially models, what kind of models you're using for what purposes, and how do you really design that surface attack, methodologies that you can really build in for part of that CI/CD pipeline so that it can be very much automated. And then this is actually, this is not only in the Cognizant that we worked with, I worked with you, Veena, very much with the team. But I think I have seen this notion very much from my enterprise experience of 25 years. I worked with Intel. Intel Corporation was one of the biggest global technology provider. And it is important for them to have the security being the laser focus, right? Because their technologies has to be the root of trust. They starts with the hardware, right? And then I have kind of seen this and experienced this, and then leading this DevSec mindset, even from the Intel standpoint of it. And in fact, we have very much trained how to really kind of make the security posture like the security first mindset from there. And then, in fact, we worked on every phase of development, whether hardware or software and integration. And security is the first thing we focus on to make sure we address all the vulnerability surfaces in a way that we mitigate the risks in the field. So that I think, very much, as you mentioned, that it is very important to kind of have this mindset first, from very beginning, the day one, than bolting the security at the very end of the phase of the projects, right? It's very expensive and costly than what we think. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, totally, Surekha. In fact, even I worked in Intel for the last 8 years as a security program manager. So this is you brought up the really good point. It resonates for me as well as a cybersecurity professional. So it's the very much critical point. I say adopting DevSecOps mindset from day one really shifts the culture. So by building the security directly into pipelines and workflows, engineers not only catch issues earlier, but also it protect their models, right, from emerging threats like adversarial attacks. It's simple but powerful reminder. Security isn't an afterthought, it's a part of how we build from the very start or the beginning. Okay, so as we near the end of our discussion, I would like to ask each of our esteemed panelists for their final thoughts. Michelle, let's start with you.
Thanks, Veena. I think everyone brought up really good points about, working together across organizations, security first mindset. I think that mindset piece is really important. I think what I would add to this conversation is that cybersecurity isn't just about defending against threats. It's about evolving with them. The problems we're tackling today are not the ones we'll be tackling tomorrow, especially with AI changing the landscape so quickly. I just look at how much AI has changed in just the last 6 months. It's unbelievable. And believe it or not, for me at least, that's actually the exciting part. It means that the field rewards people who are curious, adaptable, and willing to experiment. So it comes back to that mindset. Are you open to the change? Are you embracing the change? Are you trying to help lead and shape the change? For those of you working in data and I think you already know how powerful it is when disciplines intersect. Cybersecurity is really no different. The best solutions don't come from one team or one perspective. They come when engineers, scientists, and security professionals challenge each other and build together. So that's that better together story that Isabelle talked about. It's about what I talked about with CISOs helping stitch the organization together across functions. So my closing thought is this: treat cybersecurity as a place to grow, to stretch, and to lead. If you lean into adaptability and bring your unique perspective to the table, you won't just keep pace with the change. You can actually help shape where the field goes next. Thanks, Veena.
Yeah. Over to you, Isabel. Thanks, Michelle, for the closing thoughts.
My closing thought is this: cybersecurity is constantly evolving, as we've all, mentioned and alluded to, and none of us can keep up with it alone. Community engagement is what makes the difference. When we connect with others, share knowledge, and learn together, we all become much, much stronger.
Yeah. Thanks, Isabel. Over to you, Surekha.
Yeah, and I think just thanks to Michelle and Isabel. I think your closing thoughts are right at the importance of the day, of the need of the security, right? I think having spent my career building enterprise security from the silicon all the way to the cloud, I can tell you, and then I think embedding security in every layer of innovation is the only way to go forward. I think Michelle touched this on the supply chain of innovation, and very much, important that we need to understand the supply chain, what all we're consuming, what we are letting others to consume, and then making sure that that explainability of who is doing what is very important, and every layer of the innovation has to have good security controls built in. And and then, as Isabel was saying, that we are not alone, right? I think we as a community It is important for working with each other, helping each other, and then learning together, right? The future of AI is all depend on all of us and kind of depending on each other. So my sincere final thought and audience, to really is don't be intimidated by the complexity of the cybersecurity. It is indeed complex. It is indeed huge. But I think, as Michelle said, embrace it as an opportunity. And this is the field where you can have tremendous impact and to innovate and also have much better job prospects. With that, thank you so much, Veena, for moderating, and thank you, Michelle and Isabelle, for joining this launch panel. This is just an amazing opportunity for all of us to really give back and then shape this community, and hopefully the global audience will cherish.
Yeah, thank you, Surekha, Michelle, and Isabel, for an incredibly insightful and thoughtful, provoking discussion. Your expertise has truly illuminated the path forward in securing our AI and a data driven future. What really stands out is the common thread: adaptability, community, and scalability, and the opportunity, right? And it's also equally important to recognize that strong security isn't the only about technology, it's about security controls and the compliance. Regulatory requirement mandates adhere to laws and rules for data protection, while frameworks like NIST, SOC 2, ISO 27001, and there is a new framework came up for ISO 42001 for AI risk management, provides the structure for building a robust, resilient cybersecurity posture within organizations. To our audience, we hope this panel has sparked new ideas and highlighted the immense importance of this field. This is precisely why Women in Big Data is launching our new WiBD Global Security AI channel. And this dedicated channel will be your go to resource for cutting edge training and workshops, mentorship opportunities with industry leaders, exclusive networking events, curated job alerts in cybersecurity, spotlights on innovation, startups, and influenced executives. Whether you are looking to upskill, transition into cybersecurity, find a mentor, or a simple connect with the like-minded professionals and share your expertise, this channel is for you. We are building a vibrant community to empower professionals to thrive in this critical domain. To learn more and join this exciting new initiative, please follow the Women in Big Data AI for Cybersecurity LinkedIn page. We encourage you to tune in and explore the upcoming resources and become an active part of this global movement. Thank you all for joining us today for this global launch event. We look forward to seeing you to engage within the WIPD AI Cybersecurity Global channel. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Veena.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.